Hi everyone!
Hi.
How are you all?
Hello, good afternoon, welcome.
Welcome to our very first ever Ask an Expert on the Outside Bride.
Yes.
For those of you who don't know me, I am Emily. I need to look at the camera, not at my face.
I know, we're trying to look at the camera, but no one's on yet, so we're all right. So,
my name's Emily and I am the co-founder of the Outside Bride, and this...
My name's Alan and I'm the other co-founder of the Outside Bride.
He also just
Hello.
happens to be my husband.
Yeah, we are husband and wife team. Those who say don't do husband and wife team, there is an element of it if it's correct. We get all right. We do all right.
There are a lot of you. So we are really, really pleased that we've had our first week of the Outside Bride. So we launched last week. And hi, Emily. Hope you're all right. Emily is our poster girl for this group, actually. Emily and Steve. So they are our picture on our Facebook.
Yes. Hello, David.
Hi, David. So yeah, for anyone who doesn't know us from our previous guys, so we are Emily and Alan from Baylily Bell Tents, and we decided to set up this group in the new year, basically because we had done a lot of work over the last 6 years to work in outside weddings, and we have become more than just putting up tents. We now do a lot of the wedding concierge.
Well, hold on. It stemmed from somewhere else. We were actually at an awards ceremony for Baylily Bell Tents back end of last year in the extras category.
We're not an extra.
We're like,
we're not
extras.
extra.
You know, there's plenty that goes on in outdoor weddings and outside brides. So we thought it was appropriate to create that category. So
Absolutely.
That's where the outside bride came from.
Outside bride.
Sorry. I'm sorry, I won't do my hair again.
This is why I'm going to stick doing the lives from now on, and Alan can be the behind the scenes guy with the cameras.
Yes.
So, yeah, outside weddings, they're popular, they're coming, I don't think they're going to be going anywhere at all, they're here to stay.
Yeah, we think it's that mix, don't we, of that staycation, that holiday in abroad, that almost proud to be British thing.
Yeah.
We feel, anyway, that's why these outdoor weddings and the desire to do what you want, which
doing
is a
it on your
massive
own
part
terms,
of
absolutely.
outside wedding.
So we got married in 2012, and we did exactly that. We had our own outside wedding in Dorset. So we're from Hampshire, but we got married in Dorset because apparently Southampton and Andover weren't exactly the most desirable places to get married for us.
Don't tell my parents that, though.
So we got married in a field in between Swanage and Corfe Castle with a beautiful view of the Isle of Wight in the background, and we did everything from scratch.
Yes.
We went everything from our accommodation to our marquees to the catering, the toilets, the generators, and I think that's really important, is to know that we are here to help you with every aspect of your planning, not just the pretty pictures you find on Pinterest, but the practical things, which a lot of other sort of blog sites and stuff give you the inspiration, but sometimes not just the practical tips, which we really want to help you with. You've all got lovely celebrations coming up, and we want to make sure you have the best time ever.
And we've had a couple of really corking questions, haven't we?
Yes.
That we're going to come up with, like almost classic questions, and I think they're really, really important ones. So, but we will come to them in a minute.
Absolutely. So the only thing other to say before we start on our questions, we've got a couple to go, like Alan just said, but our Outside Bride blog is going to be launching in the next week.
Oh, okay. All right. You're putting a date on it within the next week.
It's coming up the next week. We have lots of inspirational blogs and stuff going up. And again, it's going to be different to other blog sites in the fact that we want it to be about real people and real weddings and real practical tips for you guys. So although they're going to be hopefully some nice curated pictures and stuff on there to help you get inspiration, it's going to be there as a real practical tool for you. So if you're interested in that, currently we have a holding page on our website on theoutsidebride.co.uk. You can put up your details, your email on that, and make sure that you can sign up for all our hints and tips coming up.
Yes.
Right, shall we, as I think we've been babbling for a little bit without actually answering any expert questions.
Well, we've got the questions, but what we'd also say is if you have anything you want to ask, feel free to ask it, type it in the comments to the live video, and then hopefully, that's why I keep looking over here, because I've got a computer, so hopefully we will get that and be able to answer that for you, which we hope. But we have had a couple of questions,
Yes, so we start with Alex's.
Alex asked us Hi Alex, thank you for your question. Thank you, caller. I'd like to know about a wet weather plan, please. We're having a marquee and a barn dance to finish the night off in September. So any tips that might help us cover all weathers would be wonderful.
Firstly, congratulations for getting married in September. It's an awesome month to get married.
Yes. When did we get married?
September the 15th, 2012.
Well part. A year I would have stumbled on, but September 15th.
September's a funny month because it can either be the end of the summer and be beautiful,
proper Indian summer,
or it can be an absolute washout. So,
sorry. Okay. I say so. Prepping for wet weather absolutely makes sense. Assuming you are having some kind of coverage, marquee or teepee, basically, I think the advice covers pretty much any form of covering outside.
Things to think about is obviously if you're having a marquee set up, which I think you are, aren't you, Alex? You're having a marquee.
Sorry, she just said yes, we have a marquee. It works!
Ta-da!
We're having a marquee.
I think when a plan comes together. So when you've got a marquee, it's thinking about your layout and what you're going to have inside the marquee, because Alan's the next marquee owner.
Yeah.
You can really think about your layout on the inside. So for our wedding, for example, we had a longer marquee. It was a 9 metre wide by 20 something
meters, something like that.
But we made sure that we had all of our tables and our sit down. We had a formal sit down meal, and on one side, that way, if there was a wet weather situation, which luckily there wasn't, we had everybody on the dance floor side. We had a marquee with a bar extension onto the marquee. So rather than having people in separate parts or outside, we had people that could come into the bar that was still part of the main marquee area.
If you think about that as a rectangle, so this end of the rectangle is your tables and chairs, that end of the rectangle is your dancing area, assuming you're not clearing tables and chairs away. And then there's a bar attachment this side or wherever it may be, that end, and then the other side, wherever, would then be your door. So if it is raining outside, you then got that communal area. You can get things like reveal curtains, whether you're in a teepee or a marquee, some kind of fabric that blocks those spaces apart, or post and ropes if you don't want Aunt Hilda going to your table.
What you don't want, and this is something that happened to a wedding that a very good friend of mine is a wedding planner, and she had it in a barn the other day, and they had a bad weather, and without even realising, the caterers were coming to do it was already cooked. They're just bringing the plate of food to the barns rather than cooking on site. And by the time they got there, all 200 guests were already sat at the tables well before the catering was ready to go. And you don't want people, especially if you've got things like favours and all that kind of stuff on your tables, you don't want to ruin that kind of part of your day. If you've got a strict timeline of how you're going to run your day, and if you've got formal seating and stuff like that, you want to make sure that people stay away from that part of your marquee. So really think about, if it's a wet weather day and you've only got a specific size marquee.
Hold on, I've got a couple of other things before you I thought you were summarising.
Are you going to have to do any turnaround time? Are you clearing any tables and chairs away to have you dancing in the evening? I know you might be splitting out onto the outside. Or are you going to have a separated area for dancing and your tables later on? Because if you have to suddenly have an outdoor ceremony inside your marquee, you have to think about your timings to make sure that there is enough buffer that if you suddenly go, oh dear me, it's thunder and lightning, we need to bring 200 guests, 150, whatever your number is, into a marquee, how quickly can you turn that back around to make sure that people aren't getting wet outside?
Yes. A couple of other practical things, as you've confirmed you are having a marquee and that layout which we're talking about, is marquees generally get a few different types of windows. You can get the little Georgian ones with the fake panes, or you can get big panorama ones. We always feel that one of the reasons you're having an outside wedding is because you want to be outdoors. So why would you restrict the view with the smaller windows when you could have the bigger panorama windows, they're called, and then be truly connected to the outside even when it's raining or just even miserable weather. It doesn't need to be raining. So you've still got that view. Another couple of things, it may be worth talking to your marquee company about having some rolls of matting. So if there's a parking area and the marquee area, assuming they're not miles apart, that the roll of matting from one to the other just to keep people off. And also,
we can't work together this. We're going to.
Of course we can. You just got to let me finish. Also, I mean, there's the flooring in the marquee. I mean, you can just put carpet on the grass, but if it's a quagmire, that's not going to work. But you'll know what the weather's doing a month or so apart. Or some marquee companies will offer like a suspended wooden flooring, just sits a couple of inches in metal struts, and that's also a really good way.
Hopefully September should be fine. But what I said again is look at your key areas. If you are in a field, which I know you are, if you've got a toilet block, or you've got a mobile toilet block, or you've got your car parking, or you've got activities outside, making sure that if it is raining a few days before even, and like the mud, the grass is a little bit wetter, and what's the shortest distance people have to walk? So making sure that, like I said, putting matting down in between key walking areas, making sure that you park your cars. I think if you're on a field and it's pouring down, I've said this a few times now, but I can't stress it enough. If you've got just an empty field, where are you putting your cars? Because if you've got 50 cars coming onto a bit of grass and it's been pouring down with rain for a week beforehand, you've got to get 50 cars off the field. So thinking about where you're putting that kind of stuff, and also how short a distance can you get those people from their cars to the marquee if it's pouring down. But really don't worry about rain, because ultimately this is Britain, this is what we get. And, you know, great way to learn. You can get some amazing photos, you just embrace it, making sure you get some really cool...
Well, that would be the other thing, wellies and umbrellas.
There's a company called, I think we've worked
cool
with, Jolly Brolly. Jolly Brolly is a company, I think they're based in Bournemouth.
We've heard of them.
Yeah, no, I've never used them, but there are companies like Jolly Brolly that they come on and they do... a few days, but they can do brilliant coloured brollies. So if you've got a blue theme or a white theme or a multicoloured theme, they can hire you temporary hire of brollies for your occasion.
I have a vague recollection that they did something like 24-hour delivery, literally last minute.
Yeah.
They could be wrong. This is a few years ago I met them.
But there are companies like that that might do that. So consider, and then you get some really awesome welly and umbrella shots outside.
Whack on your hunter wellies.
But don't be scared of the rain and things like that, because there was that one in the media last.
I think that was 2 or 3 years ago.
It was a teepee wedding, and they had in the grounds of a gardens, and then it flash flooded, and they all had to run into the orangery and come back again. But they had some awesome photos. They were that high in water, and I don't think you're going to get that bad. But no. Just think of the worst case and just smile through it, because ultimately it's still your wedding day.
And let's be honest, assuming you're like most weddings, most people are just going to be drinking anyway, and they're just going to keep going. And sorry, we didn't actually say, there are different types of marquees. So there are party tent marquees and proper multi-span temporary venue. It would be booking the temporary venue one if you're going to go at the fringes of the summer, so April, September. And they're multi-span marquees and things like that. They're absolutely fine. Cool.
Anything else there?
Kerry says Seb keeps waving at us.
Hi, Seb.
Hi, Seb. Seb's won, so we're allowed to wave. Right, our next question we have is from Sylvie. Sylvie says, I'd like to know about lighting. How many lights, I can't speak. What lights do we need to plan for an outdoor wedding? Pretty lights as well as useful lights.
I'll take that to start, but I think I'll let you finish that one, because you are the expert in lighting.
Oh, okay, I'll take that.
But I will only say, I'm working with a bride, Helen, who's in this group actually, Helen in May, and we've actually just been discussing this for their day. And it all very much depends on what you need and want the atmosphere to be in your wedding day. So for Helen, I hope you don't mind me talking, Helen, but Helen wanted a very, very soft lighting. She wanted it to be she's not having a very formal marquee, and it's a very, very low-key sort of family affair. And what she didn't want is to have Blackpool illuminations going through, because that would spoil the effect of being sort of closer to nature. So what we have done, or we've worked together on to decide, is to use uplighters rather than downlighters in her marquee, or chandeliers, but to cut that down to about four uplighters, and then using fairy lights wrapped around trees and candlelight and that kind of stuff. And that's because that's the effect that she's going for. What I would say is, if you don't want a lot of light, that's fine. Think about the time of year you're getting married. So anything from June, July, August, we get the sun up until sort of 9:30 at night. So you're not going to need a lot of bright light until the sort of later part of the evening, are you? But make sure that your key areas are covered. Like if you've got a toilet block, make sure that you are lining that path. It doesn't have to be with uplighters. It could just be like shepherd's crooks and candles. But just make sure that people see where they're going. Because if you are in the middle of nowhere and you're not going to a fixed venue, you will be literally tripping over each other to get it. Because it can, this time of year, we're dark by 5 o'clock, and it's really kind of, I can't see outside our back door. So just think about what time of year you're going with. Realise what time the sun goes down, and then go from there. But Alan,
so I made a couple of notes while Emily was talking there. So Emily's absolutely right. Sunset is the biggest decider on how many lights you need. Like if you're getting married June 21st, longest day of the year, I had to think about that. Then, you know, you don't actually need that many lights, especially if you're someone with a restricted finish time. But a couple of things. So if you've got a marquee is what I know most about, but this really does translate into teepees. It's the same principle, or any other form of tentage outside. So if you're going to have a marquee or tent, any form, so you want to look at some uplighters on a dimmer switch, probably about 8, something like that, scattered around. Then we would look at 8 external lights, so they would be shining up outside onto the side of the marquee, and that basically makes pretty pictures but also allows some of the light into the marquee. Then a couple of like chandeliers or bigger main lights up in the ceiling, and I'd want them well, if I can have them all on a dimmer, I would want them all on a dimmer switch, because then you can turn them up and down depending on how dark or light it is. On lights, I'm going to jump around a little bit. Don't forget LED bulbs. So I would be requesting LED bulbs from anyone who's providing these, because the power drain will be so much smaller than traditional bulbs. So if you're providing your own generator, that ultimately translates into less fuel and a smaller generator.
Why have you stopped on there?
I don't know. It doesn't matter. And so on and so forth, and you can plug more LED lights into a smaller plug socket. So think about LED bulbs, but speak to whoever's supplying them all. If you've got a feature like a nice, beautiful oak tree, you might want to light that up. So a couple of floodlight spotlights in the ground pointing up with long cable taking the switch back to the main area is something else. Ultimately, I will say, what lighting do I need is a how long is a piece of string question, because I like lots of light, but I happen to know other people who just like a bit of subtle mood lighting, and I quite like the light. With regards to fairy light and festoon lights, if you've got somewhere to put festoon lights and you've got a path from the tent to the toilets, or from a campfire circle to a catering, a barbecue area, then even getting some solar markers or some festoon lighting on some shepherd's crooks, or if you want them higher up in the air on like a 6, 7, 8 foot post, these are all other options to go with. An extremely practical thing: who's going to switch your lights on?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to have to do it.
Yeah.
So who's going to switch it on? Is the best man or matron of honour or chief bridesmaid going to do it?
Who's going to have your igniter for your
Who's going to
candles?
light all your tea lights in your jam jars, if you choose to scatter them about? Because it looks beautiful, and we think everyone should have all of this. But you have to have that practical thing of who's going to turn it all on. If you've got a on-the-day wedding manager, great, give it to them to do. Load them up with as much work as possible. Otherwise, you're relying on your most sober friends or your best man ushers if they're not too much of a liability. So I don't think we've ever met a best man and usher crew. Well, all best men are ushers. All best men are liabilities. Fact.
Always go with the ushers.
Yeah, we've never been at a wedding setup where the best men's been there. The ushers are always there. Ushers are there helping, carrying everything.
True story.
And they always say, no, the best man's coming tonight. I've never been to a wedding where the best man's been front and centre helping set up. So if yours is, let us know, send us their picture. What else online? I think that's it. It's really have a think where you're at. Have a think what you might want to make a feature out of. Do you want LED net, like beautiful curtainy things that you can hang from the side behind a lining? Are they all going to be switched on battery, or do you want them all taken back to one main power point? So it's a difficult question to answer, but hopefully there's some thoughts there to think about when doing your lighting. And yeah, I'm sure whoever's helping you on your day or supplying your hardware will happily come and give you their tuppence worth, and hopefully this will just help you understand their answer.
Cool. We'll see if there's anything else going. Oh, we're back on tonight. No, we're not.
Donna says we want a marquee. Donna, we're massive fans of marquee weddings. We had one, and like I say, I used to own a marquee company. And for us, it's about doing what you want, where you want, how you want, whilst being connected to the outside. That's what
like to call it a temporary venue, don't you?
I do like to call it a temporary venue, because I don't think when we say marquee, who remembers MASH from like whenever? I don't know, I'm not that old, it's older than me. But when we talk about marquees, people think about these Green Army marquees that are falling apart. Yeah. And when we put these temporary venues up in the path, they go, wow, I didn't expect it to be like this. And we're like, well, that's what they are nowadays. They're not, there's also capri marquees and party tents and all these other things. But if you're going for, your outdoor wedding and you're worried about the weather, then that's what I'd be going for, a multi-span marquee. Or teepee. We're big fans of the teepee.
I do like the teepee. We obviously, in our bell tent guys, we do go to a lot of weddings that have that sort of teepee feel, and they are beautiful. And actually, if you're...
Thanks, Alex. Bye.
Oh, bye, Alex. If you are going along the lines of a teepee, speak to your teepee provider, because they do some stunning things with the fairy lights wrapped around all of their main beams.
And they have some very cool add-ons, don't they? Yeah, fire pits inside the tent and little bolt-ons. We saw a Land Rover pizza oven that was designed specifically to connect to a teepee at a trade fair we were at, which was brilliant, actually. So, I just realised we've been going 20 minutes. We said we were going to do 10 to 20 minutes for our first ever one, which we never did. And we were arguing about whether it should be 20 or 30 minutes. So we've hit 20 minutes. So
we're probably going to stop there. But what we will say is, I hope this has been useful as a starter.
Yes.
Obviously, we can talk for England about anything if you want us to, but we really do need your input as to what you'd like to get from this group, because the group is here specifically designed for you guys, because you're the ones getting married. We have a wealth of experience in our own businesses, but also we do have a knowledge bank of our Outdoor Supplier Network as well. So if you have a specific thing you want to know about, we can start to tailor these Ask an Expert sessions with certain experts in the field. So if you want to talk about DJs, we can certainly find someone to come and chat to you as an expert to you.
I forgot that on the light question.
Bands.
Your band or DJ is probably going to bring lights as well. So speak to your band or DJ or evening entertainment and find out what they're bringing. I even wrote that down so I wouldn't forget. Yeah. Sorry.
So anyway, yes, if you have specific things that you want to start talking about, the group is here for you to help you in your planning. So if you have specific marquee questions, or you have catering questions, or what types of flowers are good for different times of the year, always use the group and drop us a message so we can start to tailor the group to suit what you need, rather than us just talking absolute rubbish to you.
Because otherwise we are just going to talk rubbish every week. So,
and the other thing is, we are doing this at 2 p.m. today. Understand this is a weekday and people do have things like work.
Yes.
Oh, rubbish. And draining. Can you imagine me outside
in the rain? No, luckily we're working from home today.
So we are keen to look at different times of the week to do this. Obviously, it's 2 p.m. on a Tuesday today.
Yeah. We don't want to move it around every week. We just want to find the most perfect time.
But what we might start to do, we might even do two sessions a week, but we might do a daytime one to catch you guys like you are today, and maybe an evening one after things like children and stuff have gone to bed, so around 8 p.m. So let us know what suits you guys and what you'd like to get out.
Please pop it in the comments or things like that, or send us a message.
And yes, the group. The blog is going to launch next week. Let's do some writing.
Start of next week or end of next week? By the end of
next week.
By the end of next week. Oh, okay. Just found yourself an extra 5 days there. Yeah. And
please do share the group as much as you like to any family and friends that you know might find this useful.
Anyone who wants to come in and help plan your wedding with you, and we'll always help where we can, and hopefully everyone's going to help each other as well, and enjoy the information we put out.
Otherwise, we're just going to talk to each other every week.
Yeah.
Right. Thanks, guys. It's lovely to talk to all of you who came on today. Hi, Josh. How are you? Yeah. And speak soon. Take it easy. Bye.